Hello and welcome to this turn 9 of this YouTuber multiplayer series of Dominions 4, where I am playing with 6 other YouTubers in this game of Dominions 4, and we each cast in it, so it's a lot of fun, and you can always check out each other's casts along the way. It's really great to be able to see a game like this played from all the different perspectives. And these are secret turns, so I am not watching other people's casts, so please keep that in mind in your comments, not to give me any secret information as to what the other players are doing. Now, if you remember last turn, it was pretty eventful. I was back and forth all over what to do last turn. I just couldn't make my mind up. And of all the permutations of what I thought my opponent would do, he did the thing that I did not consider. He split up his army into 3 separate smaller armies, or technically 4, and went ravaging around the countryside. I elected not to attack the province of my capital, and I probably should have done, but I was definitely playing cautiously. So let's have a look at the battles. We'll start, you can see, so 3 battles going on, and so we'll start with the battle in Stormwoods because, you know, start from the top. Okay, I'm just going to, there's a lot to talk about in this battle, so I'm just going to pause it here, and I'm going to right click on the black center of Asphodel, and you can see these are his characteristics. Now this is going to change in just a bit, so that's why I'm pausing the game. So he has just cast Divine Blessing, this is his prophet, and now all of his centaurs who are sacred units now get the bless bonus from his pretender. And now you'll see that he has acquired death weapons and regeneration. Okay, to get regeneration and death weapons, Asphodel's pretender has to have Death 9 and Nature 9, which are both very expensive. So he's gone for a very, very heavy bless strategy on his Black Centaurs. And if I recall, when he played in the previous series, in the early age, he also followed a very strong bless strategy. So this is definitely a preference on his part. So what this does mean, though, it means that to be able to afford all these scales, his pretender is, I think, almost certainly dormant and possibly imprisoned. And we can see in the Hall of Fame that his pretender hasn't done anything noteworthy, so he isn't in the Hall of Fame. So either he's sitting around not doing much, or yeah, he's not around. So we've got these 5 centaurs versus this bunch of militia and archers. And unfortunately, the archers are targeting the Minotaur here and not doing all that much damage. So the militia come in and wait, that's interesting. -2 hit points? I didn't know you could have -2 hit points and not die, but that is what happens here. Because there he goes, he gets a +4 hit points, and -2 plus 4 is 2, and he gets that +2 from the regeneration, so the regeneration definitely saved that Black Centaur's life. So these Black Centaurs are quite powerful, they are quite scary, and they're causing the militia to rout. The archers are wasting their time on the Minotaur back in the back, which is unfortunate. But yeah, and the Minotaurs, the Black Centaurs, again, the health bonuses from the regeneration. And unfortunately, I don't get a single kill on any of the units here. But this does mean this army is much, much smaller than it was before. Okay, and on to the next battle. Okay. So what's happened here is he splits up his forces, and well, obviously, but we've got Bob and Tom, the Eton Mandragora, and this thing is a monster. 118 hit points with Elfbane and Lead Shield. Oh jeez, he's got Fear, he's ambidextrous, he's got heroic abilities, and also very experienced, and oh my goodness, like this is just a very, very scary thing. But he's got very, very low protection. His defense skill is quite low too. So the best way to counter this guy is a swarm of units that just keep attacking it. Because then each time you attack a unit, the additional attack subtracts a defense skill. So the first attack he'll have defense 12, and the next attack he'll have defense 11, and so on and so on. And he's also got the Minotaur Mannequin for Asphodel. He also decided to join that in his force. And he's going against a swarm of barbarians, and basically their thing is hit hard. And there's a lot of them. So just keep it slow because, it's already dead. because, what's it, the Barbarian damage 36 with protection value of 5 did 31 points of damage. And the Eta Mandragora also has these horrible sleep vines which are able to repel. But he's just taken a ton of damage. And he's dead. And you can see the Eta Mandragora actually has -1 defense value near the end of the battle, just because it's getting attacked so many times from so many directions. And I was terrified of this Eta Mandragora. It was a very, very scary unit. And I was very scared to take on Asphodel's army when it was all incorporated. And then essentially my province defense with a few extra barbarians were easily able to take it out. And I'm really pleased with the way this battle concluded. There's now the battle in Runia. This is the 3rd attack. And this is just this tiny unit, the Deathlike Carrion Centaur. He must have thought that I would have no province defense. Because even this small amount of armies here, some of these are actually, I bought some of these units. Okay, there are 2 units here, but they're cast blessings. Are one of these a sacred unit? Yes, this is a sacred unit. So he's now got, he must have cast blessing on himself for the regeneration there and the death weapon. Okay, but that didn't last long. And even though these woodsmen are really crappy turret units, just a mob. You know, a lot of them can get work done, and that's what we're seeing here. And I'm just really pleased with how this turn has transpired. Unfortunately, very, very sensibly, he has left 1 single Mannequin unit in my capital, so I'm still not getting any province income or any gem income from any of my provinces, which is bad. But that will definitely be rectified next turn. So these 2 subsets of the army has been defeated. He's just got 5 Black Centaurs here with his Prophet. I have a very good handle of what he has, and now I'm going to give my orders. Unfortunately, I have no leader here, unless... Yeah, I've got no leaders here, so I can't move these units, which is unfortunate. I do have a leader here, and he actually doesn't have enough leadership to take all the units that I've recruited here. But let me think. Where do I want to do? I want them in the front. Might as well put these guys over there, and the commander can come up here as well. And then he is going to come up and join the bigger army. I could probably take one of these provinces, but I just want to make sure that I get a large army formed up, and then I'll be in a really happy situation. I did have some militia in this province, and because I lost the battle, they retreated into neighboring provinces. Not here, but you'll see now there is some light militia here, and they retreated from the battle that occurred in Stone Woods. So they're going to be joined up in this army, and yeah, might as well have them over there. They can be just behind the pikemen. Let's have the commanders up in the front. This commander is actually pretty sweet. He's got a lot of hit points. He's got quite a lot of protection, defense skill as well. He's got the boots of strength, which gives him extra strength, so he does more damage. And if he's behind the main lines, if he doesn't get the charge of the centaurs, I think he'll be fine, and he'll be able to actually hit pretty hard. So this lot is going to attack this province here. He's going to reclaim it, and this lot here is going to reclaim this province. So I'm not sure what he's going to do with this army here. It's his Prophet. He's got experience. He's got Black Centaurs. It's a very valuable units for him, and they're definitely not going to get home. He might run them up here. I don't have a leader here, so I can't I can't move the units out of this province, but really not quite sure what I should do with this. Another thing is, I have my Pretender here, and he was meant to side search in this province, but because he might move his army into this province, he could kill my Pretender, and that's too great a risk I'm not going to take. So I really want to side search, but instead I'm going to put my Pretender as part of the army that's going to reclaim Stone Woods. So yeah, let's keep him yeah, he can stay in the middle of this lot of light militia. Sure, why not? I'm actually going to give 5 light militia to Battle Moose, and they can just be on guard commander. So they're going to hang around him, and if something terrible happens, hopefully they'll take the damage instead of Battle Moose. And I don't think he will take damage. And the reason why I'm keeping him with the forces in the front is because I'm concerned that he might have his centaurs and orders to kind of attack the rear. So I don't want that. Maybe I have a few more militia just in case. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to change my cast spells. Flying Shards is just might as well on the first volley. But then I'm going to have... There are more options here than I thought there would be. I wonder. Air Shield... Air Shield solidifies... Okay, protects from missiles. That's not really useful. Twist of Fate. Twist of Fate negates the first successful strike against the one protected by the spell. Hand of Dust. Okay, Charge Body. When the Charge Body is struck in melee combat, you will strike both combatants. That doesn't sound great. Aim, False Fetters. Illusionary fetters form around the ankles of a limited number of units. The victims will not be able to move or fight until they've overcome the fetters magic. Illusionary fetters form around the ankles of a limited number of units. This could be useful. Fist of Iron, that's an attack spell. Earth Grip is one I just researched for. This will orders you to swallow a single target. If the target is affected, he will be unable to move unless he succeeds breaking free, and this will pin his centaurs in place, which is a nice thing to have. Okay, that's an aggressive spell. Skeletal Body. Bark Skin. Skin of the caster transforms into rough bark like hide. This makes the caster less vulnerable to weapons but more vulnerable to fire. And Personal Luck. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cast Twist of Fate first. Just in, just to have a bit of, safety on him. And then I'm going to just cast False Fetters. Because if he comes near... This is a better spell than Earth Grip. It affects more than one unit. And if there are any centaurs nearby, hopefully they'll be pinned into place. So that's what I'm hoping will happen here. It doesn't take any gems. And then... This seems fine to me. And this army, I think, will easily be able to cope with 5 centaurs. If you consider what I have here, I've got 31 pikeneers and these militia and some friendly spells from False Fetters and my Provident. I think this will easily be able to handle just 5 centaurs. Okay, that's that done. This army is going to be sent south back into the capital to help relieve it. These guys unfortunately will have to be left behind. There's not enough room to be commanded. Let's just bring them up a little bit more forward. Why not? And then I'm going to have to send some pikeneers, have you split them up across multiple priestsmiths because their leadership is so low, and they have terrible morale. The big thing I was concerned about really attacking the castle in the last turn was if Asphodel remained with his army in the capital, that and the Etten Mandragora has fear that I wouldn't have the morale to stay in the fight and just everyone runs away. And sometimes if they just stay put, then they would have won. But again, there's one mannequin here. It's unlikely, I think, especially at this stage, for the centaurs to come here. But if they do come here, I will win. So I don't have any issue with that. I want the priestsmiths to come quite close up to the front lines. Split them up a little bit. And now I'm going to give them orders. Set battle orders, cast a specific spell. I'm going to start with Flying Shards. Have 1 volley of that. Then cast a specific spell, Earth Grip. I just want Earth Grip. I want those centaurs pinned, and I don't want them going anywhere. And okay, so now one thing about Dominion's Forest, to repeat this for each priest build is a bit of a chore. So if my mouse cursor is hovered over this priest build, I can push Control 1. Okay, I push Control 1. Then when I move over to the next priest smith, I can just push 1, and he gets his orders updated. It makes management of armies so much easier. So that's that done. Now I'm going to have to order them all. Oh no. To break siege. Okay. So they're going to break siege. They're going to attack the province. These guys are going to come down. Now I probably, like, I don't need all priestmiths here, I'm quite sure, but I'm just going to put them all in just to be safe. Just make sure. There's too much at risk here. So I just don't want anything typically bad to happen. I'm sure if I put 1 or 2 priestsmiths on research, that would be fine too, but I'm just going to make sure nothing terribly bad happens and put them all on break siege. Have this army come down here. They'll definitely win this battle. These guys will definitely win this battle. No matter where these black sentinels go there, I think they'll lose. If they go here, I think they'll lose. They can go here or here. It's hard to know what he'll do. Now, a lot of diplomatic wrangling has been going on. I think I have a confident alliance with DasTactic. He is over here. I've given him information about Agathar up over here. And we've had an agreement that I will take Iron Rangers at some point. That's in my sphere of influence. But I've agreed that he can take 67 and 72. I made this agreement when I thought Asphodel was still messing up on me. But I might have to amend it slightly and insist that I take 72 because that is in my cap circle, my only avenue to get to Asphodel. But I think that's a conversation for a little bit later. But I think Alliance is strong. If I do that, I'll make sure I'll give him a nice piece of Olmish armor to try and, you know, to try and make sure I don't look like that much of a jerk. I've also been in communication with Shinuyama, and he's also very committed, as far as I understand, to the destruction of Asphodel. So I think me, DasTactic of Man, and Tortuga Power, Tortuga Sun of Shinuyama, are all invested into the destruction of Asphodel. So if that happens, I think we're in a great position. Another thing to consider with Asphodel is that his prophet is here, and casting Divine Blessing requires quite a highly skilled prophet. I can actually, so I don't think, or at least I think it's only his prophet that can cast Divine Blessing, which means if his prophet is stuck up here, rummaging around, causing trouble, then if he's been invaded by Shinuyama, his Black Centaurs won't get that blessing that is such a huge force multiplier for him. So in some respects at this point, I think it's actually in his favor if his prophet dies up here, so he can create a new prophet close to his capital and actually defend himself, because I think he'll start to be very much pressed to keep control of the situation. So the last thing that happened, I'm actually really pleased with the result. Bob and Tom is dead. I'm so happy that's happened. He really concerned me. If he was combined with those centaurs, I just didn't like it. Maybe he thought that he couldn't win and my armies were too strong and just tried to cause as much trouble. But I think even though I've lost 2 turns of recruitment and income, I think I'm still quite happy about the situation I'm in. I've got a very healthy amount of pioneers. I've got 47 up here, and I have 31 here. And I think I'm definitely approaching a critical mass of pioneers and other infantry. So I'm quite happy about my situation. I'm sure other players are definitely in a better position than me at this time, just because they haven't had the capital sieged. But it's often not best to come first in a 7-player free-for-all, because if you're winning, other people are going to gang up and make sure you don't. So you don't want to be, prime power number 1. I think the group at this point are quite dedicated against killing Urmor and Asphodel. I have no idea where Urmor is. I really probably should try and be a bit more diplomatic with Man and Shinuyama, because they're the ones I'm actually communicating with. With Vanheim, we have an agreement that we won't cross these waters. So, I mean, good diplomatic relationships with Vanheim, Shinuyama, and DasTactic, and the war against Asphodel is going very well, and Agathar is still it is far to the north of me. So I've got a spy there. I must move my spies. This is almost certainly the throne of Lower Flames. It's the only throne that's been claimed, and Agathar has that. This spy is going to come over here to try and figure out where DasTactic is in the situation. And I've got another spy over here, which I'm going to send. I want to send him into Asphodel, but I'm going to have to go through Shinuyama's territory. I've actually sent a communication to Shinuyama saying that, hey, I'm sending a spy into the territory. It's going to Asphodel. Please don't be alarmed if you catch him. After I got alteration for Earth Group, that was the reason I went for it. I'm switching my research back into construction. There it is. Trying to get Legions of Steel. Yeah, because that gives a +3 protection to a group of infantry units. And it's quite a large group, so that's really sweet. And I of course want to get construction of greater magic items too. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Asphodel chooses to do with this army. If he, I don't know. I think he'll either choose to go here or here. I'm not sure. Do I want to recruit units? I'm just going to cancel all my recruitment just so I can get a feeling of how much gold I have. I've got 5 woodsmen up here, and I've got woodsmen over here, so I think I'm actually going to need another commander. And then he'll collect what units are left over here and move down here and collect what units I have over here, which means I can recruit more woodsmen here. It's actually quite a lot of woodsmen. These guys are just terrible units, but if you have enough of them, quantity has a quality all of its own, which is not something you expect the Ulmish Empire to say, because they are all about very high quality, heavily protected infantry. Because of such a high chance of these two provinces being attacked, I don't think I'm going to recruit infantry units here, because if they do, it'll just be a waste of money, and I really have to watch my money situation, even though I'm quite sure I'm going to reclaim my capital next turn, because currently my upkeep exceeds my income. That's not a situation I want to be in, but I'm quite sure it'll be resolved next turn as I regain my capital and I regain control of my empire, and as I prosecute my war against Asphodel. Very amusingly, I got this message from Asphodel. I see your black metals couldn't hold against the powers of the wilds. Peace talks, was it? I would need monthly gold and gem from your nation. What offer do you have? And in the previous video, I invoked or made up a sacred ritual that Ulmish Empire people have dedicated their entire will and power and effort to the complete singular destruction of Asphodel, secondary to all other considerations. One of the main reasons for this, and I've communicated that I'm doing this to both Man and Shinuyama, is that I want them to perceive me as being extremely vengeful, that I'm just going to destroy Asphodel, a common enemy, a very competent player, DwarfComic, and I want them to then see this as an opportunity to destroy Asphodel, take one player down, a competent player, a death player who is spreading death dominion around, and not perceive me as a threat to try and go for the thrones. Of course I am in it to go for the thrones. I want to be incorrectly perceived as being unreasonably vengeful. This is a thing that, and then hopefully Man and Shinuyama will see me as a useful ally for the destruction of Asphodel, and once the destruction of Asphodel has been achieved, there is going to have to be some new diplomatic wranglings to try and make sure nobody comes to attack me. So in the meantime, I'm just going to try and consolidate my power, and I think maybe I'm a bit too confident now that the War of Asphodel will be victorious, but he has suffered a major setback. There was such an asset he had in Bob and Tom, and he just threw it away. And also realized that Bob and Tom had 2 items on him. I didn't get them. If I had a commander in the battle, then there was a good chance that he would have had the event of so-and-so finds the Elfbane on the ground, and then he gets it. Similarly, one of the units in this battle over here also had an item. I forget what it was, but so So he lost 3 magical items also in those battles. So definitely, I think he must have assumed that I would have gone all in to defend my capital, and figured that these neighboring provinces would consequently therefore just be undefended. And they relatively were undefended, right? It was mostly the provincial guard that won those battles. So he really underestimated the barbarian defense, or was very overconfident in Bob and Tom, and Bob and Tom was a very good thug. So I'm glad he's dead. In a group, if you can't swarm Bob and Tom, then he would have been much more dangerous. Okay, so that's, I don't think I have that much to say. There's a lot to say about this turn. Okay, I'm going to pause this video here and write a message, and then I'll read the message. So I'm just going to do that. So the messages that I have written, this one is to Asphodel. To the villainous leaders of Asphodel, the people of Ulm have declared Akvavish against our nation for the invasion of our lands and sieging of our capital. We have dedicated our nation completely to your destruction, secondary to all other considerations. The defeat of Bob and Tom marks the beginning of the great suffering of the Asphodel nation and her peoples. Your sworn enemy for now and always, the people of Ulm. And this was response in his message, requesting gold and gems. Because that was sent before Bob and Tom got defeated and his other little armies. So nice turnaround. I also have this message prepared to the people of Man. Greetings to our noble allies. We continue our war against Asphodel and have achieved a victory. We have destroyed Bob and Tom, but we must not be overconfident. The enemy will bring up reinforcements. Our nation is completely committed to the complete destruction of Asphodel. In recognition of our alliance, we would like to share our scouting information. Agathar has claimed the throne province 1-1, and surely the throne of flames lies there. We have no knowledge of the location of Eramor. Would you share what knowledge you have? Your faithful ally, the people of Ulm. So I like the juxtaposition of these two messages. One, Asphodel, I'm completely committed to destroying. Enemy, and Man, who I am completely committed to being a faithful ally for as long as... Yeah, I want this alliance with Man to basically continue for as long as it possibly can. Yeah, if you can have a dedicated ally in a free-for-all situation, you just want to keep it for as long as you can. And especially as I'm fighting Asphodel, I want to maintain friendly relations with everybody else. So hopefully people view me as being weak and completely committed against Asphodel, so they don't see me as a threat to achieving the thrones. So that's, yeah, long turn, lots happened, very excited. Next turn will be interesting. Also. I'm confident I'm getting my capital back, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see if I am able to engage in battle with these Black Centaurs. Okay, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.